So Corey has a drawing here that he'll pull up on the screen. If you recall, I believe it was in the month of October. Back on the microphone, huh? Month of October is when we had really narrowed down the scope of the jail, and we had come to the floor plan that was going to sit across the street on the south side of the campus. We had reduced the square footage. Remember, we went department by department and removed a bunch of square footage that was in each one of those areas. And I'll wait for Corey to bring it up so that he can walk through it.
Just bringing it up.
We stream our meetings now, so we have to run it.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right, Corey, you want to go over and kind of remind them everything that was in that? Oh,
Turn your volume, yeah. Mine should be off. Okay, that's what the problem.
I muted you, Laura.
Okay, thank you. I couldn't figure out how to do it.
We lost the plan.
It should be on the bottom.
All right, the latest version was cutting back on the scope. Current plan, front of the street, as Bert said, we have in this plan, 52 beds with future expansion off on the east side. We limited what the scope of the project is, so we still have vehicle sally port, booking. We have 6 receivers plus a chute. We have still a reduced version of visitation area, staff lockers, still kitchen and laundry, and loading dock. And then we have some of the jail support on the second floor, jail offices, and then staff areas as well. So that's essentially cut it back. We're down to just over 37,000 square feet. And we have still 17 different classifications be accommodated.
So when we were looking at this in the month of October, we had put a number on the total project cost of 33.5 million under the premise that we would have that bid out this spring. This is as far as the design has progressed. So we're at a floor plan. Obviously, construction documents would need to be completed in order to bid out the project. So that is months away. So whatever the markets do between now and then is going to determine what that final number looks like. So I think you all know how volatile the markets are right now based on materials. So the way to step into the process would be to continue design and have checkpoints as we get to the end of DD, do an update on the budget to see where we are. And then when we get to the end of CDs, do an update on the budget so that we're tracking that budget with the markets as you move forward. If you will recall, we went through multiple meetings to get this scope down. What I would encourage is if you're going to move forward into the next phase of design, we would want to bring the sheriff's team back to the table, make sure that all of the scope is included in there. If there are any areas where we could reduce scope to save money, we would. But if there are also areas that we have overlooked, we need to make sure that we get them in there. So this has not progressed since October because we kind of put it on hold until you got the county shop kind of caught up in a parallel situation. So, and I believe you're getting to that point here in the near future. So it's the reason for the update. So questions on where we are or where it stands? And there is no skywalk on this one. It's just across the street, the South Campus property that you own.
What did you say was the price on this?
33.5 million.
How much was that square footage wise
We
from
were,
what it was?
we were over 42,000 square feet. It was like 42.5, 43. And we cut it down to whatever he is, just over 37. So significant reduction there.
Mhm.
And again, just a reminder that the area that he has in white there still gives you the opportunity to be able to build that in. And then we have also kept in the elevator shaft on the north end of that housing unit, so that if there was ever a time in the future that you wanted to add the skywalk, that you could add the skywalk outside of the secure perimeter, and then it would be an easy connection in the future.
Still master planning for it.
So is that actually, should that be the other way around? That's the way it's gonna look. So it's gonna be looks like that right out there.
Turn.
Yeah, you're looking,
Isn't it supposed to be like that red part should be facing?
You're-
this-
when you're looking at it, plan north is of the screen. So it's a matter of which angle you're looking at.
It's pointing to the courthouse.
Okay, so that,
On across the street.
that red part is pointing to the courthouse.
Correct, yes.
Okay, all right, that's what I thought. Yeah. So we're still gonna be displacing that business too with this, right?
Yep, under this model, correct.
That 17 classifications you'd said, was that the same as it was before? Or was that cut down to?
At one point in time, I think we had 21. That was when we built out the full pod. Originally, we had, I think, 85 beds we were accounting for. We reduced that quite a bit. And this can be expanded to another, to 99 total.
And so the 17, Corey, just so that we're clear on that, that's in the housing pod. You still could have different classifications in receivers. Right now, you only have 2 receivers. Right now, we have 6 plus a chute. So each one of them could be a separate classification to be able to manage if you have an influx in those. So it does give you a lot of opportunities to deal with classification.
Well, this you said was 52 bed,
Correct.
but can this be without adding the other stuff expanded? I mean, double bunking or whatever, weren't you
You've already maxed that out.
52?
Correct. Questions, comments? There's mud.
Well, that Sally Port will be on the south end.
Yep.
So they'll have to come around over the existing Sally Port then, right?
Oh, yeah, for court.
Transfer.
Yeah, for court appearances, it would be Sallyport to Sallyport. So you would come out and get into the existing Sallyport to be able to access the elevator that takes you up to the courtroom right now. Yes.
And refresh my memory, this one, the new layout here, that includes the kitchen and
Yes,
so on in-house.
correct.
For discussions, originally, we had some, in October, we cut some of that area out. But this option, we wanted to maintain that. So that's still in there.
So go over the next step that you had mentioned.
So the next step would be for you guys to authorize Venture to move into the next phase of design, which would be designed actually this floor plan and then moving in design development. And what that means is then they start to bring in the mechanical and electrical teams. And at the end of that DD, we would do an update with the budget and where those components are. And I think the budget's going to drive a lot of the decisions in regards to what we do for infrastructure. If you'll recall, we stuck with the precast building here just because of its efficiency of being able to get it erected, as well as the cost that's there. And then the mechanical systems will be evaluated by that as well. And at the end of DD, we would give you an updated budget. And then if there's changes that need to be made to be able to monitor the state of that 33.5, we would have to make those changes, right? One way or another. And then as we move forward, that's how you step into that process to be able to stay on top of that budget. So I think we need to stay focused on this program because we've squeezed this program, right? We've narrowed it down so that it is, it's efficient, right? But it's also not something that you can't add on to in the future, but evaluate it at the end of DD. Maybe the next step would be you guys authorizing Venture to step into the next phase of design.
And then you said you'd meet with the sheriff's department and go.
Oh, yeah. I would want to bring, obviously, we've got changes, right, from staff that are there, and we want to make sure that we're still on the same page with the scope. And as you move forward, we would have the DOC involved, right? So at each step here, DOC would be there to they sign off on this. Sheriff and the staff would be there as well. Absolutely.
This design requires more personnel. Operating costs every year would go up.
It's mainly on transferring from Sally to Sally.
From the jail to the court. Require at least 2 people. And a vehicle.
That would be part-time personnel, though, wouldn't it? Or,
You'd have to have at least 2, because when that person took vacation or was sick, you'd have to have someone else to fill their spot. And we aren't going to be able to hire a part-time person. No one wants part-time. We struggle hiring full-timers.
Well, the only way we can get around that is if we would go back to the drawing board and look at having the whole thing on this campus right here. But this committee decided they wanted to go with that.
we did earlier on, yeah.
So, as far as advancing on, I don't think this committee should make that decision. I think it should be up to the board.
Should be, that's your correct.
Well, I'm not comfortable, I can't speak for everybody on the board, and I believe that if we're going to continue on and invest additional monies, go forward, that's gonna.
I agree with your decision. Yeah. And agree. We were just giving you an update of what the next steps are. And when we talked about moving this forward, it was bringing in highway. And I would think that when CUNY gets to about the same spot, you're going to want to bring both of them to your board. And then you make the decision about moving forward with one or both of them, as well as the funding. And I think that's what's before you now. I don't know to what extent they've completed their design, but that's kind of the game plan we had when we went out for our services. So bringing it back together is kind of how I took this meeting here today. And then depending on when they're there, then it would be, I would agree with you, have the full board make that decision. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't mean have you make that. You were asking what the next.
Well, I figured, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so at this point, then, I guess I would entertain a motion that we refer this back to the board, them to make a decision on how they want to proceed with the jail aspect
I would make that motion. Take it back to the full board.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded to take um, the project of the jail back to the board for them to make the decision on how they want to proceed. We go on to the next phase of the construction process. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. Oh, update from CUNY.
Email you.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, no
and then you can run it. Wait.
Square feet.
Actually,
That's small.
for the-
Don would show. 33.
Well, this is the string and stuff.
No. No.
It's an Excel.
Oh, there,
Just here.
we're on Wi-Fi in here.
That's the last.
I had asked them, cut it down last week.
Well, but the other one was,
Three, but without,
It should show all.
without.
that included everything, wasn't it?
No,
No,
they got their own square footage on them.
Oh, okay, my bad, I'm wrong.
right here.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, so you can refer to them.
Wasn't even done with my application.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. Yeah, cause see this one. 33 and the green, that was all extra here, future,
Oh, okay.
all square footage on there.
Justin, do you want?
Plan you're seeing here today is per your direction to come up with a plan at the 24,000 square feet. Work with staff to get the minimum vehicles that they saw into the suite. So out of the 240 pieces of equipment, this is totally 24 units. Now that 24 units are the ones that staff's pretty much picked. And on the same sheet that you have, you can see on the bottom left, that's 15 plow trucks, 4 pickup trucks, and then the one extra plow truck, a sign truck, and 1 other unit. So in that 24,000 footprint, you can see you can get the equipment in there. That is what we're calling the bare minimum at this time to meet that 24,000 square foot. That 24,000 square foot footprint does not have a dedicated wash bay. We're pretty much assuming we would set the facility up where they could wash within multiple bays throughout the entire complex. If we do want to have a dedicated wash bay, we need to pull 2 to 3 vehicles out of the footprint. That kind of makes sense.
So you're gonna set up like for every 2 trucks, there'll be a.
Like we have water, and then specifically one area, we might put the pressure washer. So if they want to do some heavy wash down, they could do it in that specific area. But all the other areas they could wash down with every other bay where we'd have water in there. This footprint, as I mentioned, would be the minimum. It's the 97.4 by 250 feet. It gives you just a hair over the 24,000 square foot footprint.
So did the price go down on this then?
The price go down? No, this is at your price at the $7 million that you allocated.
Okay.
What we brought in last time was just the master plan to help us come down to this piece. So last time's footprint was eventually what you need to build into county to bring everything up to recommendation.
So your last plan then, what was the price for just the green area at the 33,000?
We never broke out pricing last time. When we came last time, it was just showing the master plan.
Okay.
All right. With the master plan, you would have, on top of the 24,000 square feet, you need 32,000 additional square feet.
No, I mean, just what I'm asking is just this green area.
Yeah, we did not break out the cost on that, just that
Oh, you
area.
did.
We did not. No.
All right. Yep.
We were just bringing the master plan.
So this is where we're at with the 7 mil then.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And as talked about, that's all in, that's all A&E fees, that's any fee that has to go allocated to the project is within that budget number.
Okay.
Yep.
I just got questions. Do you have any questions or?
Yeah, I can ask him a few. I talked to him a little bit. So where does this put us in the future with the downsizing it? Yes. Where does it affect us in the future when they add on or with anything else?
Yeah, so this footprint, what we did is allocated exactly where garage doors would go. So the master plan that was there, that we showed you 2 weeks ago, that master plan still would work with this. So the repair bay would still be at the top. We'd have garage doors and we'd mass those in. Whether we put those garage doors in now, that would be structurally made with a header. So you could easily take that infill out or put the garage door in now. There again, we will come back to you to show you the costs that, say, if you build it all today, or as you prolong that 32,000 square feet, what that's going to cost you when you do it in 5 years, 10 years. We'll give you that ballpark for you at least know what you're seeing down the road. Same thing with placement of the so placement would still work. The expansion is pretty much planned north and an additional green. So the placement on the site, we could still work, but this new piece could go in without disturbing the existing. And even the future expansion could be built, leaving the existing building and then demo. Not have to move out of the existing facility to build the future expansion piece, which would fit up in here. So you can see on this plan where the garage doors and the doors I left, that would be leading into the future expansion space.
And that side of the building would be such that it would support that expansion.
Design loads would be taken into, depending on what structural system we use, would be taken care of in that wall system. Same thing with expansion to the west, because this footprint still would need additional green in the future. So that the west wall would be an expandable wall to the west.
With cutting this down to 24,000, I mean, like you were told, what are we leaving out for equipment? I mean, as far as getting everything inside, I mean,
So, so like I said,
Most of it.
your asset list is very detailed. And, you know, Justin, it seemed they literally went over everything like you told them. So everything in yellow are assets that bare minimum needed to fit in the building. That's the total of the 24 units. Of this list, there's pieces that go down. You can see they kind of picked and choose, but you have, you know, this goes down to 240 pieces. Now, some are smaller. But you gotta pick and choose where that eventually goes. But like I said, they literally every asset piece that's related to the vehicles came up with their list.
I mean, typically, I'll just jump in for a minute. You're gonna see the highway departments, you're gonna see your main building with, you know, the storage part of your building. That you're gonna have that primary equipment in. Most county highway departments that have built, you know, the last 20 years, you'll see almost every facility you go to, you'll see an additional storage building built. It's gonna house most of the other equipment, construction equipment, some other odds and ends for trucks. I mean, what you're laying out for the 24 is definitely, I mean, it's a little small. You definitely would probably want to have more of your prime equipment. It's kind of like the sheriff's example. There's things that you probably want in here that you're maybe not going to put in here. Expandable for the future though, too. That gives you that option though to expand that primary part of your building a little more for the future. But you're still going to want to have another building too, because you have a lot of old buildings that are falling apart out there that just for housing all your construction equipment and other equipment inside. So again, that's probably a future part of your storage side, not looking at your office or your shop side, but just looking at your vehicle storage side. So going down to the 24,000, it gets the plow trucks in, but really leaves just about everything else out. And usually most highway departments will probably put a few more pieces in that primary equipment building. But if that's all the money you have, as long as it's expandable in the future, probably in the future, you'd want to see that, you know, even with the office and maybe in the shop built, you know, to accompany the whole facility. You might want to have that expandable to actually put that's the most primary few pieces, again, just more for efficiency purposes than anything else in that main part of your building, actually. But again, that kind of skips the fact that you do have these older buildings on that site drawing. Most of those are pretty old and not really in very good shape or about ready to fall down, a lot of them. And that's where you're putting all your expensive, you know, your construction equipment that's $300,000, $400,000 pieces of equipment are sitting inside of these buildings that are not in very good shape right now, and you know, water coming through and everything else. So just so you know that.
but the building that we're vacating though, I mean, there will be some room in there, will there not?
There is some space in there, you know,
Store some.
until you ever be able to expand this in the future, you're gonna have
So we
some.
can move ahead and expand. Well, there would be some of the areas that would be vacated now, once we get this built. Trucks will go in here. Then there would be, that's gonna vacate some room in other buildings that potentially could house some of the other equipment.
Main shop area where you have your backside of the main shop area, there's a heated, you know, that's where they kind of plow, you know, squeeze those plow trucks in right now, so you would have that available for until the future when you bring that building down, if you're gonna expand this and actually build everything new then. Yes.
I thought would be a nice step next is to show the master plan and then kind of show you the historical data on the existing building, how much more life expectancy it has, and show you that cost difference. So, you know, when we go to eventually replace other pieces on the site, what that's gonna cost either in $25 or $30. So you guys can make decisions based on how you do each piece. Like I said, we have the total master plan built, besides moving some office and things like that around. But you can see what you can get for the 24,000 square feet.
And again, we don't know what the cost of 32,000 square feet would be.
We can estimate it. We don't know what the cost of 24,000 is
Right.
exactly
How you
as
put
we
the
sit here
bids on.
today.
Right.
But using historical data and numbers that we are very comfortable with, like I said, you're nearing your budget numbers for an all-in project. But what we do is show the master plan. And like I said last time, maybe we bid out the extra green, see what that is in an alternate, so you can make a better decision, you know, when, if that ended up coming in at a cost per square foot that made sense to spend after bid date, then you guys as a board can make that decision. So at least we were thinking, we may not do any of the other stuff to the north, but maybe the sections to the west and that would be green additional parking, you do that right away. You look at the number. You get what I'm saying? We at least have the numbers so we know what that costs per square foot.
So basically on the 33,000 one, it looks like you've got all the plow trucks like in a line, right? On the one side, on the.
No, they're also on the top side.
Huh?
They're on the bottom and top. There's a total of 16 plow trucks.
On this one. The one you presented today.
Correct.
I'm talking about the one that we saw.
Oh, I'm sorry. The previous one, we had them all on the southern side.
On one side, and then there was slats. It looks like that we could put some other larger equipment possibly.
Yeah, but not as deep. The new floor plan in the green
Yeah,
grew an 8 foot in width
okay,
to be able to get plow trucks on both sides.
okay.
And then obviously shortened up. It grew an 8 feet to get double stack on the top and bottom.
But on the previous plan that you presented, would that still, those slots that were open, like on the side facing the old building? Would those slots support like motor graders or?
Support like the sign truck, the miscellaneous truck, just not the plow trucks with the plow on the front.
So not a grader then probably?
It's close, because grader doesn't have the spreader box and, you know what I mean? It'd be
Yeah.
close. But like a loader would easily fit in that side.
Okay. I guess then. I don't know how you guys feel about this. I'm just wondering. Maybe we'd like to know. You could, give us a cost on the 33,000 square foot. Along with. Approximate that.
Yeah.
That's, without. I know John ripped that, or you ripped that one in half. But,
Save money.
just to see, I basically, I think it would be our benefit.
Yeah. This layout, if you were gonna bid an alternate, like an expansion piece,
Yeah.
you would want to build this width though.
The 8 foot wider width, that's,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay, we can definitely add it to the west and fit all the pieces in it. But in case you wouldn't be able to build it, you don't want to lose those parking spots for the plows on the north side.
so what you're saying is that this, if you were to rework this one would become 8 feet wider?
Yes.
Over,
And then I'd pull in the west wall.
okay.
Yep.
Which would, yeah, that would have to be. Because you don't want to, because this is almost like butting up to the existing building if you did, for future.
Yeah.
So it's gonna have to go about jut out this way.
We have plenty of real estate to the south though, that's county land.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. The only we have to look at is the scale that's there. Right now, we're staying north of the scale,
Okay,
but the scale long-term entity probably doesn't belong there and needs to be replaced. And we're still playing around where this would be better. Anything built today.
Hmm.
I'm just trying to keep my eye on that future expansion. We know you still need to live in this site while you're building it. So we want to make sure we place this where the future expansion still works.
But Justin, what are your thoughts?
I just want to make one keynote where the building's sitting at right now. That is right on top of our sign shed or sign room. So that's got all our signs in there. So that would end up going into the back shop. So that would take up some storage space there.
okay.
So that has the signs with the stickers and the reflector, it's gotta be controlled
That,
environment.
that building that's just to the west there?
Oh, it's right on top of it.
It's right on top. I'm on top of that old sign shop.
Oh.
So that has to be taken into consideration as well. My opinion on this 24,000 is what we talked about. It fits well, but it's not fitting all of what we could harness in a building to forward here. I understand, yes, we can move some in there. There's plenty of equipment that sits outside already, so I mean, that can easily be taken up by a lot of other things. I mean, last time we bought a loader, it took out $400,000 just for a loader. We got a grader sits outside. Well, that's probably 500 now, and we didn't pay that. But now if you were to upgrade or replace, you're being at 500,000.
Oh, yeah, easy.
So, I mean, we got some of this high dollar equipment that may fit in there, but you also got to remember some of that's gonna be taken up from the signs being pushed over to the other shop, the parking garage. So I like the idea of getting the numbers for the 31, 32 area to compare to the 24 and then go from there.
Yeah.
It makes sense to compare it to whatever.
So, I mean, so again, I mean, if it makes more sense to, go big, financial wise, then maybe that's something we ought to consider.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but if we do the 24,000, we have to move this wall. That's gonna be an added cost on top of that.
Yeah,
Gonna have to-
that's what I'm saying. You'd want to do it right away. That's why you'd bid it. So because moving the west wall, regardless if it's expandable, it costs money to do it. So you want to make sure you're making a smart move right away.
Yeah.
So what I think we'll bring the 24,000 square foot cost. We'll bring the 32,000 square foot cost, and I'll bring the master plan. Master plan cost if you did it today, master plan cost if you did it 10 years from now. Everything beyond the green, just so you're seeing the dollars where things go.
Now this, I don't know, this here says 33,570. Is that 32?
32 was an additional square foot on top of this.
Oh, to make it this.
The red, to build the entire master plan. Yes, the red, the yellow, orange, and blue.
So, all right, now so this square footage figure here, 33,570, that's the whole enchilada here?
It's the green part.
The green,
I thought, yeah, so now, so this is 24.
yep, it would add 8,000 square feet to this. If you're just looking at the green, last time the green was
Why
32.
is this one 33,570? And you're gonna make, and if we went with this, it's gotta be 8 feet wider.
It's 8 feet wider, but the west wall came in. So the better way to look at it, to get all the equipment in there, you're right at about the 33 to 34,000 square feet of just the green.
Right. But where did you get the 32 figure?
32,000, if you look at your plan there,
Which one do you want me to look at? now?
add the 8,000, the one in your hand,
This one?
Yep.
Okay,
to add the red, the orange, the yellow, the blue.
Future.
so that's 1,000 square feet only?
No, it's 32,000 square feet. The total
I
complex.
thought, okay, so I thought 33,000 was just the green on this.
Yes.
This is another 32,000?
No,
Future
Yeah.
expansion.
This expansion is another 32,000 square.
Correct.
Okay, all right, now I get it.
Plus, that 32 includes the 8,000 of the green that's not in the 24,000.
Right.
I just happen to be close in numbers once, yeah, it's just,
Okay, so this, on this green one that you brought the last time.
Yep.
This, I should say plan you brought last time, this green area is 33,570 square foot.
Yep.
And you're gonna add 8 feet onto this. 8
Yep.
feet wider, correct?
Yep.
So your base, so how many square thousand of feet is that gonna make this green area now?
I think it's the green area. The green area with.
Or isn't this, isn't,
It was longer. The west wall moved in to get it down to 24,000 square feet.
this one?
Correct.
Yeah, so I know, yeah, this one's longer,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
which I get that. So my point is, if this green area is 33,570 square feet, and in order to make it wider to accommodate different equipment, you said you have to add 8 feet
Correct.
with, on the south side?
Yeah, south side, yep.
So what would that bring the square footage up to?
The west wall is not going to be in the same spot as it is on the master plan.
It's not gonna be the same spot as what it is here?
Correct.
Okay,
Because
why not?
you could keep it in the same, then it's going to be larger than the 33,000 square.
That was my point.
Yes, yes. Not needed. We just allocated the vehicles in a different spot.
Okay, so in other words, if we wanted, I mean, this, if we wanted to keep all the plow trucks on one side like this shows, that means you have to keep this width, this length. Correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're gonna, so it's gonna remain 33,570 plus whatever it is to make that 8 feet wider.
If you wanted to keep it that way, I just don't think you would do that because then if bid date, you don't want to pay that price, you have a building that's not going to function the way you want it. We would just take this as the master plan layout.
Yep.
And add the required green to it to get the additional vehicles into it.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Makes more sense.
Yeah,
You can park on both sides and
that's correct, yeah.
So I guess, are we in agreement then that we'd like to see the cost on both?
yeah, I think so. The 24, the way it's laid out here. And also the 33
Yeah.
32.
And the master plan.
and the master
And
plan.
we'll have each plate, image that goes with it.
If we go 8 feet wider, that means that's gonna go right into the scale then?
Because the site plan can go west.
Okay, all right.
If it stays where it's at, that's where we run into the potential, what we gotta do with the sign shed, what materials that are in there. If we turn it, then it's gonna be hidden behind the existing building. If we move forward and wanna leave that there for the so-called cold storage, so you run into conflict with representation. So there's a number of things we can talk about where to place. If we move forward, where's that placement, and then the final decision made forward.
My apologies.
It's clear as mud, but I'm getting it. All right, so.
So at the
Terry?
next meeting, we'll have those figures to
Yeah.
look at,
Yeah.
to compare them.
I've always been for what was the price of the 33,000. I've been pushing that since day one and that got shot down. So
Well, so now you're gonna find out.
really,
Last time we
Yep.
knocked her down to 24,000. So this is 24. Yep. And this can be done for, I don't know yet. Well, right, till there's the.
This is 7. This is, the one they brought today is 7.
Is 7.
The new one that they brought today,
Mhm.
that's the one you're looking at right there.
Does this get all the dump trucks in there?
Yeah, so that gets,
Look at the second sheet.
the left side, you'll see that's the trucks that they've minimally picked. There's some verbiage on your left. No, go to the next sheet, right on the left there.
Yeah, it shows you how many,
There's
what
24 units staff picked to minimum they would need in this
this one
building.
will hold.
So this is not all the plow. How many plow trucks are?
This is all the plow,
It's all,
It is all the plow
all the
trucks.
plow truck.
Okay. Just not some of the other
But
stuff.
not some of the other $400,000 and $500,000 pieces of equipment. That,
I don't know, they should be.
so, but I mean, they did what we asked last time, so they
Mhm.
scaled it down, and this is a tentatively a $7 million price tag right here.
whole project.
Tentative.
I just want to make sure you understand it's project, it's A&E fees, it's everything. It's not just construction costs. Construction cost is this, and then it's everything else. You wanted to make sure it was all under one number.
So what we've asked is that if they would come back and actually, I mean, so you would come back then with an exact cost on this? This is. we won't
Our
get-
estimated exact costs, sure.
Okay, and then they will come back with an estimated exact cost for this, which would actually be, it'd be not as long as what is here, but it will be 8 feet wider.
Okay.
And it'll end up being about 32,000 square foot.
What I would say is I'm gonna come back with the green of all the master plan vehicles that we originally wanted in there
Yeah.
and see where the square foot ends up. I don't want to say it's,
It's
no.
just the green area.
Okay.
It's the green.
So we can compare costs from when we cut it down last
Yeah,
time to
yeah.
what it was.
Just to see if it's worth our while to cut it down this much, or if we'd be better off spending a little few more bucks and get it to where we can house some of that expensive equipment in there.
And I also have the master plan cost, so you know what that would be, plus prorated out 10 years or whatever, so you can kind of see the numbers where you're at.
Master plan wise. This chopped down version,
This is the master plan, the whole banana there, enchilada, whatever you call it.
right?
Yeah.
Right, but this is. Dimension wise, is this as long as what we had last meeting?
No.
This is shorter.
This is short.
Yeah, you went from 34,000 square, you took out 10,000 square feet of green.
Right, I realize that, but you took that lengthwise, width, or both?
It got wider by 8 feet and the west
And
wall.
shortened it up?
Yes,
Okay.
to max out at the 24,000, well, 109, you know, that's.
Okay, so master plan wise. If this one were the decision. X number of years down the road when we wanted to have one full thing. Can that be done just adding on to?
Yes.
Okay,
We would master plan the whole entire facility structurally that you would be able to add on as long as you followed that master plan.
So if we went with this one, that means we could add on to the west. If we wanted to
the west.
the west, yeah, so going that way.
Good, I guess, yeah, but I mean. And make it longer.
Go
And make
anyway.
it longer, yeah. So, yeah, we could extend it out this way.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'd probably recommend both.
Yeah.
You just want to make sure you cover yourself. You could go either direction.
Sure. Right.
Justin, do you have any other comments?
Well, he wasn't here, but where the placement is, it's right above the sign shed, so we gotta take that in consideration. If that building goes there, we're gonna take up some space either in the back shop or somewhere in that other building, because it's gotta be in a controlled environment. Signs,
How many square foot is that about?
sign shed,
Yeah.
I honestly couldn't tell you. I'm not gonna throw a number.
Is it like 20 by 20 or something?
Oh, it's bigger than that.
No, it's bigger than that, but that first section where all the signs are is probably not far from 20 by 20.
Yeah, it's probably close.
And then you've got that back half, you got a truck or two in there and then more signs and parts and
Yep.
all of that.
That's all of our roll-ups and our road sign stuff.
Right.
There's some trash pumps out there. Of hoses for that. What else we got out there, Andy? Barricades, cones, small engines, barricades, cones. So I mean, we just have to move that around elsewhere. And with the cones, you gotta be careful when they get cold. You don't wanna break them because they get brittle. So that'd be another, warm cold storage, whatever.
State trailers are in there.
The state trailers, yep. State finance trailers are in there. You gotta be plugged in all the time for
Yeah.
what I'm getting at is that stuff in there's gotta go somewhere. The best place would be in the back of that building. It's controlled. You know, you couldn't put it in the old salt shed. That's pretty brittle, and even John's, you know, he's seen it. It's getting close to the end of its life.
Pretty ragged.
We'll play around with the site footprint to see, you know, because we don't want to take the sign shop down if it's got a few years left, you know what I mean? We want to make sure you're not losing space if you don't need to.
Okay. That's not fair. Do we need to set a date?
I just suggest the 2 weeks. That works.
Yeah,
Schedule.
so we took,
24th.
the 24th.
Yeah.
Same time, 4 o'clock?
Yeah.
Basically, we've done a review, a list of the kind of equipment. We did the review of the current equipment, so is this what that? Oh, this is, okay, here we go. Things we're up to now, budget and bonding amounts.
Okay, so this is the most current report we have from Baird. This was from back in October. You guys remember this, that's the last time we talked about the jail project. Then at an estimated cost of about $3.5 million. And at that time, before we had CUNY involved, we were looking at $87 million for the highway project, which is the second column. And then that green column there is our capital improvement bonding. And the board has been bonding every other year for $3 million. So Baird included that capital borrowing to continue. And we spend that primarily on highway projects, but also any leftover we will spend on certain county capital needs as well. So if you'll recall, the total tax impact for all three of these borrowings was 95 cents. So that's per $1,000 of valuation. So if you're a homeowner in Rusk County and you have $100,000 house, that means that your annual tax impact would be 95 bucks. The median property value, and this is from a 2003 number, that's the most recently available data, in Rusk County is $173,750. So the median taxpayer would see an increase annually of $165.06. If we were to move forward with all three of these things, you know, continuing our capital improvement borrowing every other year, and the jail project and the highway project. And then if you flip to the next page, what Justin has done is broken out what impact would be for each of the projects, and then what the strategy would be for paying off that debt. So the 95 cents hits in 3 different tax years. these are all things that as the finance committee and as the board, you can change the strategy. So for instance, if your policy is, you know what, we're okay hitting the taxpayer a little bit harder upfront because we want to pay overall less interest, you could advise Justin that that's how you want to do that. But what we did with Justin was the middle of the road approach where the taxpayer will be seeing these 40-cent increases 2 tax years in a row, and then a 15-cent increase in the 3rd tax year. So ultimately, that means that we are going to be paying a little bit more in interest, but it eases the burden onto the taxpayer. And then after that 3rd tax year, there would be no additional increase for these projects. And then starting, I believe, in tax year 2035 or 2036, I can't hear, the impact would actually start to decrease as we were paying off of that debt.
37.
Thank you. And then on the 3rd page, so it is state statute that the total indebtedness of the county may not exceed 5% of the county's equalized value. So you'll see in Justin's notes, our 2024 equalized valuation TID-in is approximately $1.9 billion. Okay, so 5% of that is $95,985,960. So that is the county's legal debt limit. So if you look at the bar chart, that first number shows you in 2024, and you'll probably recall this from when you guys passed the budget. The current indebtedness of the county is we're at about 15% of our limit. So if you guys remember, John, you might not have been here yet. Brian, you might not have been here yet. But the first time that Justin presented on this project, he said that we are primed and ready to go financially for taking on this amount of debt. So Kitsy and Andy back in 2020, 2021 had let Justin know, let Baird know that, hey, we have some of these bigger borrowings that we're going to need coming up in the future. So when Justin comes to present to you guys again, he'll kind of touch on that they've been getting us ready for this. So again, 15% is what our indebtedness was when we passed the budget in 2024. So we have 85% of our debt limit remaining. If we were to do these borrowings, you can see in 2025, there are more colors appear on your bar chart. So we would go from 15% indebtedness to about 48% of indebtedness, which is well within our limits and something that Baird would be comfortable with, that we have the capacity to continue to pay that off. So I wanted to give you an update. Like I said, these are numbers from October. We already had the valuation, equalized value in. So these numbers are accurate. We haven't taken on any debt since you guys issued the $6 million. So these are the most accurate numbers. The reason I wanted to bring this forward is because if you do plan on bringing these projects forward in tandem to the board, these are the kinds of things that the board, I'm sure, is going to be asking questions on. So if you're looking at changing any of these numbers, maybe you want Justin to run a scenario that's $1 million. Those are the kinds of things that I need to get to Baird so they have enough time, so we have that to be able to present to the board.
Are you suggesting that we should try to meet sooner than 2 weeks? Because that's just the day before the board meeting.
In my opinion, I don't think that it's ready to go to the board in March, and that's just my opinion. But the finance committee hasn't seen this again since last fall, and we've had some changes on the finance committee as well. And possibly they might have a different bonding strategy than the prior finance committee did. So they might say, we want to do a 60-cent impact and then a 35-cent impact. And that would completely change this.
All right. So possibly then, maybe in April, we could present it to the board.
I think they would have, even you guys as the ad hoc committee, I think would have a lot more information in front of you. You'd have numbers now from me. We could get new numbers from Baird. We could talk about what the bonding strategy would be, what the principal first interest payoff strategy would be. So then when you come to the board with whatever your recommendation is, you have more solid numbers to back you up in what you're recommending.
know, it won't be ready this latest month anyway. You know, for full work.
Once we make a decision, what would be? What were you talking about as far as time frame for completion? Because what were you talking like maybe December, January? But when would you have to start?
Yesterday.
That's what I'm talking.
Yeah. You mean to get in, I mean, the nice thing is, you know, they're gonna be in their building through winter and might be a transition, but you're not gonna have it up and running for the start of winter
Right.
at this point, yeah.
So like we're looking at now possibly not presenting this to board until April. Which means if we get board approval, you probably, you know, wouldn't be able to start until like the 1st of May, probably.
We would say, when you say start, we would start construction documents right after you give us the approval.
Okay.
And then say a month from there, we'd be out on the street for bids.
Okay.
You got 3 to 4 weeks for bid, you know, so I mean,
So we're talking about June before.
yeah.
July.
Easily. You gotta get financing squared away at the same time.
Yeah.
And I just want to remind you guys, we have a reimbursement resolution in place. So we have a general fund for this purpose. So we can start spending out of our general fund. We don't have to have the bonds issued. Yep. So if we are, as a board, you move this project forward, he can start spending money before we actually have the bond dollars because we have that reimbursement resolution in place. And then once we do bond, because that is a long process, we will replenish our general fund.
We could have a special board meeting if we needed to.
Yep. And that might be advisable, as the thing said, because this is such a big issue.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
it's good.
Maybe we got it. Anything you want to add? Questions?
Don't go no more. Just an idea, but. Figure.
Yeah, figures on this, and then we have the jail figures, just these. They're pretty good.
Mhm.
All right, any announcements? Next meeting date, that would be the 24th at 4 PM. Motion to adjourn.
Go move.
Thank you all for coming.